Hello and welcome back to Morsels and Motors. Today you join me in the relative warmth of my garage here in Anglesey in Wales, where my lovely car PGH is kept, my 1980 Volvo 345 that you might have seen a couple of times. In today's video I just wanted to give you a little bit of a end of 2022 kind of fleet update and a look ahead to 2023 and see where we're at. Because I do appreciate that some of my videos are a little bit confusing perhaps, it's entirely not clear whether some cars are mine, whether some cars are, what's happening to the cars, you don't see them for a long time, are they still there, that kind of thing. So I thought let's just go through them one by one. Last time I did a fleet update, I started off with the oldest and worked my way to the newest, but I think this time I'll do it slightly differently and I'll start with the car that I've had for the longest and work my way to the ones I've had the shortest. So we actually start with this one. This is PGH. He's my 1980 Volvo 345. I've owned this since 2009. It is really immaculate. It's done sort of 37-ish, 38,000 miles. It's in amazingly good condition. It lives here at my house in Wales because it has a nice garage to keep it warm, and it also means that when I'm here I will drive it, because one of the problems I had with this car when I had it at home in Cambridge is that I just wouldn't drive it very much because the brakes would bind, which would mean that I don't drive it, but the brakes are only binding because I don't drive it, and so it was ending up just being ignored. I really want to drive it because driving old cars keeps them alive. So it's here. I've really enjoyed it in the summer and I will enjoy it next summer for shows. There are a few small jobs that need doing on it. The timing needs to be changed because it's definitely pinking. So that's a job I need to get done. It needs an oil change, and it also needs to go and have a voluntary MOT because it hasn't had one for a good couple of years. So just want to have it checked over properly. But at the moment it just is going to sit here in the relative warmth of this garage, just looking pretty. The next car that I think I've owned the longest is my 1977 Gold 343, which I've had since 2013. And that car is, I've done one resto video on it as a starting point, but it really does need a bit of work. So I've already done a few tiny jobs on it, but there are definitely quite a lot more to do, fitting a new bumper and some body work and sorting out some of the electrical problems that it has. I will get to that at some point this year, hopefully. We'll see. It will need some professional work. I'm not a bodywork expert. I cannot do bodywork. I hate doing bodywork. I've tried welding. I can't weld. So I'm going to have to farm that out to somebody more professional than I am. But I really struggle doing that because there are a lot of people who just don't care about Volvo 340. So I really need to find somewhere that does care, but equally isn't extortionately expensive, because it's not worth a huge amount of money. So I don't want to go crazy with it, but I still want it to be solid. I think the car that I've owned longest next is my 82 Volvo 245 Estate GLT spec. That car, well, I've slightly fallen out of love with it. I just don't do anything with it. I don't use it anymore. The Volvo XC70 that I've got is similar but significantly better in most ways. Sorry. And I do love 240s, but in absolute all honesty, that is not my ideal spec of 240. I would prefer something that's a bit more basic with the chrome detailing rather than the black that the GLT has. So that car is going to be up for sale this year. There are a few jobs I need to do to just sort of get it ready for sale. So I need to get those done. But once I've done those, then I will be putting it out there up for sale. Sorry, car. Next up on the list, it's another Volvo. It is my green 1981 Volvo 345. That car is doing really well. It is all working. There's nothing wrong with it that particularly needs doing. However, I did take it for a voluntary MOT a couple of months ago, and although it passed, there were quite a few advisories. So things like, I think there was a brake line, one of the rear brake hoses was a little bit worn, and I can't remember. There are a couple of other advisories as well, some corrosion as well, obviously, because it's actually quite a rusty car. So that needs a little bit of attention. But for the moment, it is tucked up for the winter, and it's another thing I will deal with when it comes to the spring. None of the jobs on it are that difficult, but they just need to be done, and I have the list of them to do. What comes next? I think what comes next is the Metro. I bought the Metro in 2020, and the Metro is, again, it's actually in Wales. It's in my mum's garage, spending its winter here, having some warmth and cover. Because, you know, being a British Leyland product, it will probably dissolve if it's out in the elements for too long. It needs a tiny bit of bodywork looked at after the MOT. There was an advisory for a little bit of corrosion on a subframe mount, so I need to clean that up, see how bad it is, and repair it. Otherwise, it's in really good nick, and my plan is, once the winter's over, is I need to drive it back to Cambridge and put it in storage, and I'll come to that in a moment. Next car is the Fiesta, my Mark III Fiesta, 1989, the oldest Mark III Fiesta still in the country as far as I am aware, registered 4 days or 5 days after the model went on sale, 5 days. So it's a pretty rare car, popular spec, etc. Love this car, it's so brilliant. It is wanting for nothing at the moment, it just works. I think it's got an MOT due in February, so we'll see if it passes on that. I can't see that there should be any problems really, but yeah, absolutely love that car. It is just a joy. It's so lovely to drive. The gearbox is so light, the controls, oh, it's just lovely. I adore that little Fiesta. It's just great. Next car is the XANTIA. Now this car you haven't seen very much on this channel, because when it arrived, when I first got it, which was in, I think, early 2020, no, late 21, I think, it kept breaking. And I just didn't bond with it because I just kept having to repair things on it, quite major things that made the engine basically not work. I shan't go into it right now, but I never have yet done a proper kind of review and drive video of that car, which is kind of shocking. At the moment, that car is living with my friend Jim in Belfast temporarily because for various complicated logistical reasons, I needed to take his Mireia for a while and he needed a car to replace the Mireia, so we just did a quick swap for a few months. But the XANTIA will be coming back, and I will hopefully do a video on it, and then that is also going to be sold. Because, again, in a way, the Volvo XC70 has sort of taken its place, because I bought the XANTIA in order to have a modern-ish car, ish being the strongest word here, and to do longer journeys in, that kind of thing. But the XC70 sort of does that. I also wanted a hydraulic Citroen, so it was a great introduction to that, but the XANTIA has never been a car, I'm really sorry to say, that I've coveted. It filled a gap. I needed a modernish car at the time, it was interesting, and it's a hydraulic Citroen, so I like it, and it's brilliant to drive, it really is. It rides so fantastically, but yeah, it just does not absolutely spark joy in my world, so that's got to go, and hopefully I've got a good friend who is going to take that one off my hands in the next couple of months, so let's see. Then I think that brings us to the Astra. Oh no, it doesn't. I forgot. The XC70 itself is now part of my fleet. Usually my modern car isn't, but now my modern car is 18 years old. I think it's kind of part of the fleet. XC70 is doing really well, and in a couple of weeks' time, it is actually going to drive us to France and Italy again for a little week away to do a few bits and pieces. So yeah, yeah, it's doing really well. It's got a few jobs that need doing on it that I mentioned in my review video of it, or 6-month review video recently, but nothing major. It's going strong, and on its winter tyres, it really is battling through this winter really well. So next on my list is the Astra. That I only bought very recently, a few weeks ago, or well, a month or so ago. That is going to be the subject of a lot of my videos, as you've already seen. It's quite a needy car in some respects. It's got a lot of body issues or bodywork issues. I've got a couple of plans I'd like to do with it. One is I want to take it back to the original dealership where it came from. And two is there is a guy in Southern Ireland, in I think County Cork, who does videos on YouTube as Vantage Point Garage, and he is a Mark 1 Astra guru, as far as I can tell. So at some point, I haven't actually ever made contact with him, but at some point I would love to go and have a little road trip to County Cork and just meet up and say hi and kind of geek out over Mark 1 Astras for a little while. So that is the fleet update on my cars. And I say my cars because, well, it's a little bit more complicated and there are a few more other cars that actually exist in my life, and I'll come to those in a moment. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about in this little update video is kind of the future of the channel and channels, because I do actually have another channel with a friend that I wanted to talk about. So my channel is going to be very much focused on either my cars, buying them, playing with them, fixing them, tinkering, and also car reviews. So I love reviewing other people's cars. I've not done very many. I've done a DS and a Polo, I think this year, and probably another one or two. But I would really love to branch out and actually drive a few of your cars if you're at all interested. I've got a couple of potential ones lined up for the next few months, so I'm really looking forward to that, because I love driving new and exciting cars, and it also gives me a chance to compare them against my own and other cars I've driven that are similar to them, and also gives me the real opportunity to not buy them as well, because, you know, a lot of my cars, I really wanted them because I've never driven like a Metro. I've never driven a Metro before until I bought one. So it'd be really nice to drive, I don't know, like a Nova, or a Peugeot 106, or a Peugeot 205, or a Citroen Visa, or a Citroen BX, or a many things that I've never driven, and I'd love to have a go, and without actually having to buy them. So if you do have some interesting cars that you would like to have featured on my channel, please do get in touch. I would be delighted. I'm based in Cambridge and can travel, you know, a decent distance to come and do some filming. I would love to meet you and your cars. I'm very flexible in terms of time, so during the week is absolutely fine as well, and probably actually preferred to the weekend. So do get in touch. My email address is down in the description, but it is seanhudson@gmail.com, and Sean is S-I-O-N. So there you go. Next thing I want to talk about then is what I hinted at a moment ago, which is the other channel. So I've set up another YouTube channel with my really good friend Jim McGill, and we've called it Also Driven, because we tend to drive cars that are a bit of the motoring also rans, that kind of thing. And that channel is going to be about kind of motoring adventures, where we go and do stuff, and also motoring kind of discussions. So we call some of those videos also casts, like a podcast where we just sort of sit and chat. We'll see how we go, but we love going on adventures and doing stuff, and we thought we would document it because some people might like to come along for the ride. So yeah, if you like my videos and want to kind of see me branch out a little bit more in different areas, then please do consider subscribing to Also Driven as well, because on that channel is where we'll do the fun stuff, where, like, so for example, we got the Picasso a few months ago and cleaned it. If we'd had the other channel, it would have been on that. So that kind of stuff is going to be, and the AMI, all that kind of stuff is going to be on the other channel, because Jim is a bit of an automotive adventurer, and he gets lots of cars come through his life for various reasons. And so, yeah, that channel is where we document doing stuff to those. So yeah, please subscribe. The last thing I wanted to mention in this little video is exciting plans for the next few weeks are, in my life anyway, is I'm getting some storage. I'm so excited. Finally, I've got somewhere to put my cars that is undercover. So I'm getting the keys on the 1st of January, and at that point, I'll be moving the cars in, so they will no longer be sitting on the driveway of dreams, getting wet and damp and cold and miserable. So I am incredibly excited about that. I know it's very small things, please, small minds or whatever, but, you know, I don't care. I'm happy. So there we go. A couple Coming up then in 2023, I don't know what I've got really lined up. Some of your cars possibly, jobs on my cars, I might buy another car, who knows. But yeah, hopefully you all have a fantastic Christmas and New Year, or whatever celebration you have at this time of year, some time off with your families, etc. And look forward to catching up with you next year, and also in some shows in real life as well. It was really nice to chat to a few people at the NEC in November. So yeah, happy Christmas, happy New Year, and see you soon. Bye.